Have you ever wondered how to ignite a fire? There are a few different ways depending on what materials you're working with. One way to start a fire in particular is called a friction fire. The tools are a hard board, a spindle, and a nest. Now the key is to put your weight down on the spindle as you twist the spindle back and forth, creating friction against the hardboard. This pressure or friction heats up the notch to the point where it begins to smoke and creates a coal. Once you apply that coal to the nest, the fire is ignited. What caught my attention is that there needs to be pressure that causes friction. The friction causes the stick and spindle to get so hot that fire is ignited. In Daniel chapter 3, we find Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego under immense pressure and friction. But they're ready for it. Why? Because as young teenage boys, they had already felt the pressure of being taken from their native homeland. They'd already felt the friction of not wanting to eat the king's food. They had already felt pressure about praying with Daniel about Nebuchadnezzar's dream under the threat of death. And the combination of these experiences, the pressure and the friction, had ignited a fire inside of them for God. Their loyalty was unwavering. Their fire for God outweighed being thrown into a literal fiery furnace. Even if God didn't save them, nothing was going to quench their fire, their love, or their loyalty for God. Daniel 3:17 and 18 says it this way: if we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he doesn't, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. When you choose to follow Jesus, many times we begin to realize how much pressure and friction we're under because we're trying to do what is right. God uses each of these experiences to ignite our fire and loyalty for him. God uses the pressure or challenges, friction or setbacks to show us just how much he loves and cares for us. And many times he shows up in ways that we didn't even expect. God wants us to get to the point that we are so on fire for him that we obey and follow him even if we are unsure of the outcome. In the case of the three Hebrew boys, not only did Jesus not allow them to be burned, but Jesus showed up in the fire with them. It should remind us that every time we're going through a difficult situation that we are not alone. Jesus is right there with us. So let life's friction and pressure ignite your fire for God.